Well, February is known as the month of love, but why not make every day romantic?
Oh, and you can. Here with a few romantic ideas to get out of town. Lisa Hettinger for L&L Travel. It's good to have you back, Lisa.
Thank you.
So glad that you're
Great
joining
to
us
see
here
you.
on CI Living. How many places do you think you've been?
Well, Matt, I've been doing this for 35 years, even though I'm only 45.
Yes.
So I can
Started
actually say I
young.
could probably write a book on all the
Yeah.
places. It's easier to say where I haven't been than where I
Oh.
have been. So let's start the bucket
Let's
list.
do it.
Yeah, these are places we need to see.
Romantic ideas.
I really highly recommend these hotels. They are the most romantic on earth, and I would really recommend you put them on your bucket list.
Okay.
So we're going to start from the Greek islands. Santorini has a Mystique luxury collection sitting in the cliffs.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, that resort is really sitting high above the mountains in the cliffs. It's
And a
absolutely
pool.
gorgeous.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and what you're seeing there is actually the pool, and then like the little dining area, and then the little villas or like the little bright lights you see. It is amazing. Bucket list.
Yes.
Greek island of Santorini, Mystic Luxury Collection. Then you can also go on and back to the States. In California, you can find picturesque, absolutely picturesque chateaus near the wine country in Sonoma and Oakhurst. This is one of the famous chateaus. My French isn't very good, but it's Chateau de Siroux.
That sounds good to me.
Okay.
Me too.
But you see that picture, Lisa? My God, the room.
Yeah, it's absolutely.
Are you
almost
staying
feel
at
like you're in a
Versailles?
palace, you know?
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
Like you're in California, but the wine country has beautiful places to stay, and also other little tiny ones if you don't want to be so fancy.
What about Italy? That's
Well,
romantic.
we've got a couple of the Italian properties on the list. One is in Capri, and it's the JK Palace. Look at, there's
There it is.
another beautiful scene in Italy. You get the Italy and the Greek islands, and you get that view of the water, and oh my goodness. And they do a lot of resorts in the cliffs and along the edges of the water. So it's breathtaking.
Yeah.
So beautiful.
Are these all
And it-
places you've been?
I have not been to all of these,
Okay.
but there's a few coming up that I have been.
Ooh,
But
okay.
these are on my bucket list.
Okay, that's true. See, sometimes even travel agents have to.
Oh, we
dream.
have bucket lists.
That's
We have
right.
dreams, yeah. The next one is in the Amalfi coast, and that's also in Italy, and it's called the Hotel Santa Caterina. Again, another breathtaking view. Can you imagine sitting out there every morning and
Sipping your
lunch and dinner?
coffee.
Picturesque
Cafe
views,
away.
just very laid back and very romantic.
Or drinking wine. I'm fine with that.
I
whether
was
it's
just gonna
morning
say
coffee or evening wine. I know you. You and I are on the same track.
I
here.
would be definitely enjoying my champagne in the morning and my wine in the evening.
Yes, yes.
Let's say a little closer to home, we're going to come back to the States, and they're the most exclusive and romantic of all the Florida Key resorts is called Little Palm Island Resort and Spa. It's in Little Torch Key, Florida. This little resort is only like 28 miles east of Key West, and the ferry goes back and forth every hour, so you'd have to take a ferry to it. But it's like 6 acres of tropical flowers and sandy beach. It's just beautiful. But due to the remote location of the island, they offer a full meal plan at $200 per day per person.
That's not bad at
no.
all.
On
And
a
you're-
remote island?
right,
Sure.
but I have to take a ferry to get to. So
Yeah.
like,
You do.
That's
Isn't
cool.
that nice?
That is
Yeah.
I bet they don't
Now-
have McDonald's.
Well, and I will tell you, no, that it's like nice chefs and, very
Yeah.
nice wines, and it's very exquisite. And here's the thing, though, too, there's no pets allowed, no phones, no TVs, so can you live without your iPhone?
Well, if you're being romantic, like that's half of it.
It's wonderful. Leave it at home, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Another one, my favorite is, which I have been to in Negril, Jamaica. It's called the Caves. The Caves Hotel and Resort. Every room is unique. Every room has so much character and charm, and it actually sits on top of the caves, and the coastal view is amazing. Absolutely. I mean, and they do have really nice chefs at the site, and people you'll find diving off the cliffs in Jamaica.
Wow.
It's in Negril. It's also not far from the Rick's Cafe, if you've ever heard of Rick's Cafe, where it's very famous for the restaurant and for the diving and shopping. And it's a little area, but it's beautiful.
So get our passports now is what you're saying.
You must get passports for all of these, except for California and Florida, yeah.
Sure, makes a lot of sense. I love you set the romantic
Yes.
scene here.
Yeah.
I know. Well, you've worked so
This-
hard. Would you like a
well-
margarita?
Yes.
I love it. Well,
Yes.
cheers to you.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for being
Thanks
so
for having
fun.
me on.
If you ever want to
Yes.
take us with you on any of your future
We can do
trips.
that.
On
We
an
can definitely do.
excursion.
It's the month of February in love, so it's even though it's almost over, continue on the tradition all year.
I love
Absolutely. Shouldn't be just for February. I
No.
love it. Lisa Hedinger with L&L Travel talking about the most romantic hotels on earth. Yeah, give her Facebook page a like and contact her when you need to go to one of those amazing, exquisite, one-of-a-kind places. We'll connect you at CILiving.tv. All right, and if you're in the midst of your workout, the ones you've done for weeks and it's getting boring, something needs to change, you need to get unstuck, how can you mix it up and get moving? Well, today's sponsor, the Savoy Recreation Center. They sent fitness expert Davey Taylor to show us how to spice things up using a simple disc.
Let's glide our way. I mean, doesn't that just sound like a good time? Don't you just want to do it just by saying, I'm going to go glide? Okay.
Yeah, but this is not something you do on the carpet.
We just learned because we read on here, it should be on a hard surface. Hard floors are best, which most places that you go work
Okay.
out. and
Well,
most
this is a
places in
lumpy,
your home
dirty
you have
floor. I
somewhere,
presume it's gonna
That's
work.
okay. If we don't make it to the lay down part, we'll be all right.
Okay.
But it's really simple, not much to talk about. I mean, it's
Okay.
covered in nylon, so it's slick. It's got a little bit of bendy to it.
Okay, so what worries me about this potentially is that if people are not very balanced or they don't really know what they're doing, like, is it easy to fall and maim yourself?
No, I don't, because you don't want to go any farther than you feel comfortable, but you could always put the leg that's
get
not
rid of
moving
one.
off and then, do your thing.
Smart.
So,
Okay, let's do some exercises. Show
Let's
me how
do.
this works.
so we're going to work 3 different things. We're going to do some lower body, okay?
Gonna get my booty,
Get that
my
booty
hiney.
under control.
All right.
Okay, so let's do side lunges first. So the leg that stays bent is the leg that stays in place, and the leg that goes straight out. Bring it back in. Can you feel that right there?
I did.
Right on that upper thigh.
Yeah.
Right
other
here. Let's do
places.
the other side. Let's do the other side. Which one side is always a little bit easier than the other because none of us are totally symmetrically,
Really?
strength-wise equal. Oh, one more time.
Yeah, well, I'm feeling
It only is
I'm
low.
feeling asymmetrical.
Okay, so, but we can feel this working. We're keeping the abs tight.
Okay.
Shoulders roll back and down as always. Let's try a back lunge. So we're gonna keep the left leg in place. Take it back. Ooh, bring it in. Can you feel the leg,
Yeah,
standing
yeah,
leg
yeah.
especially too? Bring it back in.
Now, again, for these, can I scale it down if maybe I'm not quite as flexible as you?
Yes, do not go.
Or-
Only go as far as you feel comfortable going. And I mean, you got to be able to get yourself back up too. So you don't want to get down to the point where you're like, help. So you can start small, just right here. Little
Okay.
ones, tiny ones. But then eventually, if you can.
I'm switching to the other side because I
Let's
know
switch.
how you do.
But one side's always, see that side's for me is like, oh, it's a little bit more work.
Now,
Okay.
Now these are going straight back.
These are.
Can you mix it up, going like
We
out
can even
like
go out to
this?
diagonal.
Whoa.
So you feel that, but that's where the bun
I
comes
did.
in right
These
there.
are the demonstration. These are the shoes you do not want to wear when you are exercising.
You can even do these barefoot. I mean, if you didn't want to.
That's a good point.
Right.
That's a good point. Okay.
So, and then let's see. Anything where you hold a squat it's a loaded. So we're gonna do loaded leg circles. So you're just gonna
Whoa.
take that right foot out and around,
Whoa.
and then bring it back the other way. Feel it?
Yeah, I do. and I feel how uncoordinated I am. But again, in the world of fitness, like
Concentrating.
that's a Ooh, that's a good thing though, right? Because when
It
you're feeling not perfect, you're exerting yourself a little bit. That means you're working your muscles.
And you're using the muscles to hold yourself up. Exactly. So next, let's do. We've done mountain climbers in here before.
We have.
Okay, so let me just show you one without, which would be, you just bring the knee up. We're gonna slide those knees in. Okay? We're gonna go to the side just a little bit.
This is not intimidating at all. Okay.
Get up in your pike. Okay. Bring it in. Bring it in.
And then you do move quick.
Like well, only as quick
Whoa.
as you want to move, of course.
Yep. Gentle. Whoa.
Now look, here's something fun. Bring it in. Take it out.
Whoa.
Bring it back in.
Okay.
Oh, what do you think? He's such a good sport, though, folks. I mean, truly,
I'm trying.
he truly is.
I'm trying.
I'm so glad you were here today. I
Oh
don't
my
think Heather
gosh.
would have got down on the ground with us for this.
No, she would have worn heels just so she didn't
And
have to.
a
for this
skirt.
one.
And a skirt.
Okay, so now, right. So now, okay, so tell me though, seriously, for these, like, this is something I can do in my kitchen.
This is something you could totally do in your kitchen, dining room, anywhere you have a hard surface. I like to mix it though with do some cardio, do some lower body, maybe do some upper body. Ooh, you want to do an ab one?
Okay, well, unfortunately, we have time.
Okay, real quick, real quick. You're gonna
Okay.
take it all the way down to a plank,
Okay.
all the way up to a pike,
Whoa.
back to
Gone
the
up.
plank.
Oh, that's really bad for me. Ooh.
Take it out to the side.
What?
Okay, here.
You're
do
killing
jacks.
me.
Do jacks. Oh, I'm so glad you loved me in the first place. Otherwise, I'd really be in trouble.
You're great. Okay.
you too.
So Savoy Rec Center.
Savoy Rec.
You offer these kinds of classes.
I would
you can
put
help
these
people get
in my
moving?
regular like cardio mix class.
Okay.
Yep,
They have a full
Thanks for-
list of cool classes, right?
we do. SavoyRecreationCenter.com. Here's Ryan Burke, just a little late. You said you were going to come glide.
How coincidental. He's taking that page out of Heather's book. I love it.
Oh, here he is.
Okay,
here he is.
here, you two work on these, okay? Get to it. That's right. Show him the ab one. That's hard. Hey, we'll connect you to the Savoy Recreation
do it.
Center
He
online.
could. All right. Thanks for having me.
It's hard, right?
It is.
I know. You gotta work up to it. It's Valentine's Day, and a lot of you out there are probably looking at receiving a little chocolate. What good does that do for your heart? Well, it's Heart Month, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that with Dr. Jim Painter, formerly of the of Eastern Illinois University, and now with the University of Texas Health Sciences. It's good to have you back.
Thanks for having me.
You have a great way of being able to tell us about scientific things and make it actually easy for us to understand. So let's break down chocolate. A lot of us are getting chocolate, like I
Right.
said, for Valentine's Day.
Right.
Is this a good thing for us or maybe not?
You know, it really can be a healthy food if eaten correctly. So when I talk about all this, I'm really not saying go out and eat a bag of M&Ms.
Okay. Even though I might want to.
That's right. But what's in it, the basic cocoa powder, is extremely beneficial.
Okay, so it's the cocoa part.
Right.
And there's chocolate out there that's more milk chocolate versus dark chocolate, and dark's got the more cocoa.
That's right. So generally, the darker it is, the more cocoa in it, the healthier it is for you. And so the basic component of Hershey's, Nestle's, Ghirardelli, the basic cocoa powder, is where all the benefits are.
Okay, but so that does not necessarily make it into something. We're picking on the poor M&Ms, but like there's a lot of chocolate out there that's processed, and does that process kind of change the nature of the chocolate?
It does. One of the things you need to look for when you look at cocoa is most hot chocolates say chocolate processed with alkali or Dutch processed chocolate. If it says those two things on there, Dutch processing, it has wiped out a little bit of the bitter component and all of the healthy things. So you want, if you look at the basic Nestle's Hershey's cocoa powder, it isn't Dutch processed, but every hot chocolate on the market is Dutch processed. The good thing for you is that M&Ms are not Dutch processed, but they come with a lot of coloring, sugar, and all the other things.
Okay, so really there is that balance. So
Right.
first, when you get rid of the bitterness in the chocolate, you're losing a little bit of the health
Right.
benefit. And then be smart about what else you're mixing the chocolate with.
Exactly right. I mean, we would make hot chocolate with just some skim milk, some stevia, cocoa powder, blend it up, and have a delicious hot chocolate that has all the benefits.
Interesting. All right, let's talk about the antioxidant content, because that's, I feel like, a word that gets thrown around a lot. Antioxidants. We know it's a good thing, but what does that do? What does that mean?
So, you know, an example I give is you take an apple and you cut it, it starts to turn brown. It oxidizes. Our body does that. I mean, over time, it's just breaking down and oxidizing. So we want chemicals in there that help our body not to do that. We don't want to turn brown like an apple. And so lots of things have antioxidants, and those are good things.
Okay, and let's take a look at this chart that we've got here that kind of compares the antioxidant levels of tea versus wine versus the cocoa powder. So is there one or the other that's a little bit more, I guess, healthier as we look at these statistics?
Well, the reason I put this in there is because people have this idea that tea, green tea, wine, they're good for you, and they are. Yeah. But when you look at the amount of 2 tablespoons of cocoa powder compared to those, it's amazing how much more the cocoa powder has.
Okay, well, right, and 2 teaspoons compared to the black tea, which I feel like a lot of people will drink. But that also has antioxidants, so file that away too. So chocolate with your tea, you're doubling up.
That's right. We need to be taking 2 tablespoons of cocoa powder every day in something.
Okay.
Put it in your oatmeal. Cocoa oatmeal.
Everyone would eat that. Are you kidding?
I have done it before.
I'm sure.
Or I make a smoothie and 2 tablespoons of cocoa powder in there. You can even make a mole sauce that you're going to put onto any meat you want to eat and make a cocoa powder mole sauce that's really good too.
Well, I'm going to have you back to make that for us. That sounds really good. Next time you're up from Texas.
Right.
do
Chocolate,
it.
meat, we'll do that. We'll make some mole sauce.
I love it. Dr. Jim Painter with University of Texas Health Sciences, formerly of Eastern Illinois University, bringing us the brilliance. drjimpainter.com is his website where you can go for lots of health information that you can actually understand. Based on research, too. It's great. We'll link you at ciliving.tv.
It's one of the most beautiful historic places to visit with an amazing coastline of communities.
Yeah, let's get out of town to Spain today. Jennifer Whalen, owner of Island Travel Group, joining us, the queen of Get Out of Town, the very, very first person we had as a guest doing Get Out of Town back on the morning show back in the day.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you're still coming in.
Well, thank you for inviting me.
Well,
Yeah,
and
it's a
you're
pleasure.
still traveling to all these amazing places.
I'm working on it.
That's true. So how many times have you been to Spain?
Just once.
Okay, but it was
one
a
time.
trip worth remembering.
It was a trip definitely worth remembering.
Yeah.
And it's all about the food. No matter how my story veers, it always
go
comes
bring it
back to the
food.
food.
So what was it about the food that was so special?
Well, it's kind of interesting. I got the best, I'm going to give you the best possible tip possible for traveling in Spain. And I got it from my bicycle tour guide. So that's your first tip.
Take
is
a
that
bicycle
Take
tour?
a bicycle tour. So there's all kinds of bicycle and walking tours in Europe.
Is that him there?
That is him. He's amazing, and he was so great. And so he loved. That's my little cousin. She's a hysterical little Southern belle, and she hadn't ridden a bike in 30 years. So she kept saying, "I'm praying for us," she'd say, and we just had to laugh. So he loved her. He ate her up. So he was our best bud, and he was raised in Spain. Gave us the best tips. And so that's my first tip: is go on a tour, buddy up with a tour guide. They love to share their experience and their history with you, and of course they love to learn more about you. So when you do, this gentleman, for example, took us to his favorite place to eat in Spain and introduced us to the owners. We had a great time touring, but we also learned the best possible tip. You always sit at the bar when you
Why?
are
Oh,
eating, when
interesting.
you're dining. So every restaurant has a bar, and it's not, the bartenders aren't just drink makers. They have a play in the kitchen, what goes on in the kitchen in the restaurant. So they're not only making the drinks, but they're making the appetizers, they're making the desserts, and they're interacting with the guests at the bar. And because remember, Spain is all about tapas. So anyone who doesn't know what tapas is basically little savory dishes, like little mini dishes of whatever you want to eat. So when you go into a restaurant, you have the choice throughout Spain. On the menu, there's going to be a tapas price and a full plate price. So it might be like $1 for tapas, or up to $3 or $4 for tapas, depending on what the tapas is. And then there's maybe $6.50 to $13 for a full plate. So I said from the beginning, I'm like, I'm going to lose weight here because this is awesome. I just get these little bitty, I might just start with 2 and then we'd share a dessert or something. And I did, because you walk everywhere. You hear about European walking shoes.
Sure.
Well, I had to buy a pair while I was there because you walk everywhere. And
Well,
it's
and you're
amazing.
riding a bike, so.
Yeah, but the best part about sitting at the bar, this is what he told us. You always sit at the bar because the food is coming and going from the kitchen. So you get to see all the amazing food and what's this, what's that. And while you're sitting there talking with the bartenders and drinking your wine, they will slip you some tapas while you're sitting there. So as you're admiring it and saying, "Oh, that looks good," then they'll slip you some. So that's the key to learn to meet the locals and hear all of their stories and get the best of the best in town, is meet the people. We even met like the owner of one of the restaurants where he took us. He had toured and been the tour guide for Harrison Ford the week before. So he had brought him into that little restaurant, and they had all taken selfies with him and Calista Flockhart. And so we did the same thing, like we got in the same poses and took our selfies, and so it was amazing.
And you can ask those people questions too. So if you want, he might take you to his favorite, which I think is always a good one. But if you want to go to somewhere, send me somewhere that's kind of out of the way, or an underrated restaurant. They can point you in that direction too.
Absolutely. He took us to the Jewish Quarter, which was really interesting. I'd never been to a place like that. He just really showed us around and, yes, gave us those tips. So that's the first thing you want to do, is hire a local guide for a local tour, and then just become their buddy and get all the information you can from them.
Yeah.
Well, plus
look
there's,
at these pictures.
Yeah, cathedrals and palaces and
What are we
lots of
seeing
history.
here? Yeah.
So
wow.
Spain is full of palaces and cathedrals. You could spend days touring them, and they are magnificent. They are so much more amazing than what I always brag about, my cathedral in the cornfield in Flatville, Illinois.
I know
There
exactly
is
which one you're talking about.
gold everywhere. It's like 10 cathedrals in one, and they're throughout Spain. It's absolutely amazing. Absolutely beautiful, and the palaces. And what's really interesting, because Spain is so old, and because there was such a really the Muslims were there first, and so like in the palaces, they may have built the first and second story of the palace, but then you can see how the architecture and the decor changed as maybe the Christians came in and built the third and the fourth story to the palace, or even in the cathedral. So the Muslims, they decorate, so ornate and colorful, and then like the Spanish came in and the walls are bare because they hung tapestries. So it's all very unique and interesting. There's so much more to learn.
Wow.
And that's why you talk to a travel agent like Jennifer,
why.
right? And clearly she does tours not just to islands. Island travel is her thing,
Well,
but she also
every
does...
land is an island,
Oh, is that what they say in the biz?
It is.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming
You're
in.
welcome.
It's good
My
to see you.
pleasure.
Take us with you next time, will ya?
I know, right?
Jennifer Whalen talking about vacationing in Spain. And if you need any more travel trip ideas, you can visit islandtravelgroup.com. We'll be back.
Central Illinois is the CI in CI Living.
So admit it. You've done it. I've done it. We're talking about overspending.
Yeah, I've done it.
I know. Overspending, right? We all have the best intentions to put our money aside, but...
Yeah, here to help us get back on track with our dime, Lori Hunt for Busey Bank is here. So I am one of those 1 in 3 Americans who need to get on my household budget. It's hard in August when you forget about all the back to school spending that happens. But that is a fact. 1 in 3 Americans are not prepared with their household budget.
That's right. Only one. That's how many have a budget.
Oh,
prepared.
how many do have? Well, I'm not that one. In 3.
Yeah. So,
You're in the other 2 of
I'm the
3.
2.
Which,
Yeah.
okay, so what is a budget? So let's really start basic here.
your basic is knowing what your expenses are and trying to prepare for them ahead of time, and having a reserve so that you stay in the bucket. So if you had a budget and you started in January and you started thinking back to school, you might take a little pocket amount, every pay period or every month or a quarter, depending on what's comfortable for you, but actually having a plan and then sticking with it and not let the emotions of spending money take over.
Yeah,
and
and we jokingly say that we've all done it, and we have,
Yeah.
but it's the problem happens when easy credit.
That's
or
right.
you just go to the ATM, you're like, oh, I'll get back to it
Yes.
later, and then you can't pay your electric bill.
I know.
Right? And
Yes.
so you have a couple of ways that we're going to try addressing this, but let's talk first as a base about what the reasons are for overspending.
Well, what you forget about the future. You forget about back to school. You might forget about birthdays, or you forget that you might have to replace your tires or oil changes, and we forget about the future. So that's just not planning. And then the other thing that we have a tendency to do is we tend to reward ourselves a little bit too often. I've had a hard day, I've had a hard week, I've had a hard month, and we tend to
Sounds like
do that.
dieting.
Yeah.
You do that too with food.
Well, you know
Yeah.
what? Your financial wellness is very much like your physical wellness. And the funny thing is, if your financial wellness can be on track, your physical wellness will follow. So you really need to, pay attention to the financial parts of your well-being, because we do reward ourselves too often, and you have to scale back and try to not have the impulse purchases, like I said, rewarding yourself too often, and save money ahead of time and think consciously. And that's where a budget helps, but it's not fun to have a budget,
No.
except for it does reward you in that you do have buckets of opportunities to then have those monies to pull from.
Well, yeah, and then rewarding yourself also, I think, ties in with you mixing your mood with your money, because
yeah.
rewarding yourself does make you happy.
You absolutely do, and you have to just be careful that you are, diligently thinking and planning and sticking with your budget, hopefully, if you have one.
Yeah.
And it's never too late to have one. That's the beauty about it. You can always prepare for it. So, but when you do mix your mood with money, it can be bad, because you can definitely overspend, and it's easy to forget your long-term potential needs that you're going to have, real estate taxes or back to school or
Right.
Christmas shopping or things of that sort. So
Okay, and the other thing too that you say, I want to talk about bad home equity habits. What does that mean?
well, your home is really not a piggy bank. Your home is usually your most sound investment that you have, and you should use it that way. You have the home equities. We really encourage home equities. Use it for emergencies, not necessarily for, you know, a trip out with the girls or a shopping trip, you know, not a vacation, for an emergency, for real solid needs that you'll have, that, you know, you can use that money efficiently instead of using credit cards and such.
Yeah.
Needs, not wants.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's hard.
Yeah.
You've got some strategies to help us get refocused.
Yes.
And starting with staying informed.
Yes, staying informed, knowing what is going out monthly, paying attention to what's in your checking account. You can have text alerts sent to you to know exactly, you know, what your balances are. And you can also have something sent to you to show you what your balance is. If it gets to a certain amount, get a text alert so that maybe you can realize, oh gosh, I'm at that threshold where I said I wasn't going to go below.
Right.
So those are some good tips too.
And you guys actually have those tools.
We do.
And you counsel people all the time.
Always, yeah. We come in January and we start talking about making those buckets of lists and the you know, the budgets to try to go with, and we love those opportunities to do that with people.
Yeah, okay, we've got 3 steps to having saving success.
Okay.
So the first one, figure out how much you need.
Yes, figure out how much you need and then start trying to budget to see how you can get there comfortably.
Okay, and then so review your cash reserve.
Yes.
Make sure you got enough cash there reserved, and then ensure your money is saved every time you're paid. So just
Pay
take a little
yourself
bit
first.
out.
Yes, or you can have it directly deducted into a forced savings. People really like to do that a lot, and that's a simple thing. Even with the online banking, if you don't want to have it exactly the same amount all the time, and you want to look to see what's going on, if you haven't had a budget, you can just go in there, but pay yourself first. That's a really good strategy.
Why should we link our checking and savings accounts?
Well, it's really nice to do that because then you can have a handle of where you are with everything and know for sure where you are not to overspend in the different categories. And then to put that reserve in that savings so it's there. So when that money comes in to your, you know, checking account on your payday, you can automatically send some to your savings to put away in, you know, for a need.
We don't have time to get to half of these, which is unfortunate because this, I mean, we could do a whole half hour here, but 7 months worth of expenses, something to think about when you're preparing for these things, and then see your online tools.
Right, because they say 4 to 7 months of reserves, 4 to 7 months of reserves for an emergency. So if you start, you know, little bit chunks away to do that, it really helps you out in the case of an emergency.
Lord.
But that's the rule.
Smart thinking. Yeah, they've got all kinds of things online for you over at Busey.com. Great financial tools there. You've showed us that stuff before. Make use of them. They're there and they're free. Lori Hunt, thank you.
You're welcome.
We'll be back.
People with Parkinson's disease have new reason to hope for an improved quality of life.
Yeah, and they can find that hope through non-contact-based fitness at Rocksteady Boxing. Joining us for today's Get Moving, head coach and owner Laura Mock and Daryl King, one of the club members. It's good to have both of you here.
Thank you.
You've been here before, so refresh everybody a little bit about the spirit, Laura, behind Rocksteady.
Okay. Well, it was started about 10 years ago in Indianapolis by a lawyer who had early onset. He started working out with a friend who did boxing and found that his symptoms started to slow down and actually get better. And so that kind of started the whole research, and then why did this work and why was it doing that? So now we have over 325 affiliates around the country and around the world. Today there were about 75 when I started the gym a year and a half ago.
Wow.
So it's just exploded everywhere, and we're trying to get a gym in every large community around so that people have the opportunity to drive not too far to get to a gym.
And April is Parkinson's Awareness Month, so a great opportunity for people to learn a little bit more about the disease, maybe get the help that they need, whether it's through fitness or a support group.
Right, right. We are also members of the Champaign County Parkinson's Disease Support Group, which meets every Monday at the Savoy United Methodist Church from 10 to 11. And they have a great time together. They're a very good group of people and support each other, very positive support group. And we're really proud to be part of that organization.
Daryl, tell me a little bit about your experience with Rocksteady. What have you gotten out of going and working with Laura?
Well, it was an adventure to go through this whole Parkinson's disease, and I didn't know what to expect and how I could combat it. And this slogan here is fighting against Parkinson's. So I'm learning more techniques to fighting back.
Yeah. Are you feeling like it's helping your muscles? Is it helping your control?
Yeah, it has. The other issue is balance.
Oh, sure.
And that's something that we work on pretty hard there because Parkinson's tend to fall down.
Right, and so I'm seeing one of these Bosu balls down here,
Right.
which are perfect for helping people with their balance. So do you
Right.
want to show us how to use this little apparatus down here?
So a lot of times people are just working on the Bosu just like this. For a lot of people, they can't even start out without holding on. You know, they don't have that good a balance. So they then progress and they can stand there, and then they start maybe using.
Ooh, 1 foot.
Yeah.
Woo, he's
Start-
being adventurous.
But then we can also add some of the fight things. So, you know, you can still use some of the punches while they're on the Bosu.
Because this is non-contact
Right.
boxing.
Right. The members, they don't fight each other. The only thing they hit are the focus mitts or the bags, speed bags, heavy bags, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, we aren't teaching them to box like competitive.
No
Right.
Rockies.
Right.
Although Daryl channels his inner Rocky, I'm sure, right?
That's right.
The meton and changing naturally. So.
Right.
Yeah, I know that's true. And you have a muse. You have your Adrian, right?
Yeah. What does this thing do down here?
This is part of what we do for agility, which means, you know, kind of quick change movement. So if there's some kind of object in the way that they can quickly change. So we do this with the hurdles, where they just practice that type of stepping, wide stepping, and
So-
also trying not to knock over the hurdle.
Oh.
But it happens.
I
It's
got it.
okay.
Sure,
It's all
sure.
right.
Well, and ultimately there's a lot of concentration. There's balance
Yes.
in this too, I feel
Yes.
like.
Yeah.
Daryl.
Balance, concentration, you're right, focus, because there's a lot going on in the gym. So a lot of times it's focus, you know, staying on tasks that they're working on. That's very important.
Do you work with people one-on-one or in larger group settings?
It's a group setting. I mean, if somebody needs some one-on-one, I mean, I go around the room, and if somebody's doing something and I want to change it or I want to progress them and say, oh, let's try it this way to make it a little harder.
Mixing it
then
up.
it's kind of one-on-one.
Well, hey, can we just tell you, we ran into Daryl and Laura back at the bridal showcase we had a couple months ago. Come to find out, these two are engaged.
I know, Rocky and Adrian right here. I love it.
Nice.
Oh, there we go.
Not only can you know, help your symptoms of Parkinson's, but you can find love.
Apparently.
Look at these two.
That's true.
They're in the home stretch.
So yeah,
Yes.
have you guys picked a date yet?
Oh, yes, it's May 6th.
This year?
Yes.
Well, congratulations to you both. That's awesome.
About 3.5
Happy for you.
weeks.
Yes,
Yes.
excellent. Well, okay, so there's going to be they're going to have to go on a honeymoon and do all these wedding things. But now is the time to get in there so you can learn a little bit more about Rocksteady Boxing, give yourself a little bit more control, some muscle tone, and really help you with your Parkinson's symptoms. Thank you so much for being here.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Yes. All right, again, visit CILiving.tv for more information.
So they say the best self-defense is awareness.
But do you know what you would do if you were ever approached by an attacker? Self-defense and concealed carry instructor Dwayne Beckew, representing Lakeland College, is here with a few tips to keep you safe in your community.
We should also say he's the owner of Vanguard Personal Defense. So you clearly have experience with this.
Yes, sir.
How long have
Yep.
you been teaching?
I've been teaching self-defense and martial arts for over 20 years.
So let's talk about what he has on here. What's going on here?
What he has on here is a coach's chest guard that I typically wear when I do the end evaluation simulation with the students. What I like to do with this gear is it allows the student to hit me not at full force, but at a pretty good clip.
Right, and you won't feel a thing, will ya?
You'll still feel it, but you won't get the injuries associated with what these strikes could potentially do to you.
Just trying to
I
prepare
did it.
ya,
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're having a class at Lakeland, and you kind of structure this. Well, first of all, let's talk about why it's important to learn more about self-defense and how to defend yourself.
Well, what I feel the most important part about it is the mental part of it, what I call installing the software into the students' minds. Without the proper software, the hardware, the physical skills aren't going to make much difference. I start the course off by talking about mindset, and then I move on to awareness and what it is and what it isn't. You can be perfectly aware of everything and still get attacked. So you still have to have physical skills.
And then what do you do in response? Because you've got that part, but then as soon as you realize you're being attacked, you kind of get that fear, that adrenaline rush, fight or flight.
Exactly. And that's the biggest plus to this self-defense training, is that it stress inoculates you. Just experiencing being in contact with another human being can, help you deal with it so you don't flip out, so to speak, right?
Okay, well, I'm ready to flip out, actually. So,
well, hold on. We have to go through one more thing first, because you do practice and demonstration drills as part of that. And that's kind of how this ties in, why I'm wearing this vest and why Heather's about to beat me up. Tell me a little bit about that, the importance of that in the course. Wait until I'm turned around.
The first thing that I teach the students is how to get into a position of advantage and how to use their body's strength to their advantage. And
so show me the pose.
And so basically bend at your knees, stagger your feet just a little bit, and bend forward at the hips just a bit, and have your hands up where you need them. Okay. Now, the next thing I'm going to teach the students is how to create some space. So if somebody's too close to you, you're just going to just simply push the threat away, and then follow up very rapidly with a palm strike to the head, or we can do a hammer strike to this area.
Okay.
I'd appreciate that.
Or we can use forearm strikes. Ulna bone or the radial bone.
Okay.
So let me ask you, Heather, do you feel comfortable doing self-defense if you were ever, God forbid, attacked?
No.
Yeah. And that's exactly why you want to come on and talk about this sort of thing, because you want to empower people to have that confidence.
Just getting that experience of doing it can help alleviate that freeze moment. When somebody approaches you, if you've never done anything like this, you're going to freeze.
Will adrenaline kick in, though, you think?
I believe adrenaline will kick in, and it will enable your larger muscle groups of your body to become even stronger. We've all heard the stories about the grandmother lifting the car off the kid. Well, that's because of adrenaline.
Yeah. And you actually say fear is a gift.
Fear is a gift. And that's one of the best tips I can give anyone, is to read the book The Gift of Fear by Gavin de Becker.
All right. Well, let's do this. Okay, so how do I pretend to be an attacker?
Basically, when somebody approaches you and they get within, what you would consider your personal space, let's say they're already up here, and I'm going to push away danger, creating this space, and then very quickly come in with a palm strike, or I could come in with a radial arm strike, striking here or here, or a hammer fist. That's why this protective gear is here on the neck. So just push away the threat,
like that,
and then palm strike.
Oh, I just liked you too much. I know.
Pretend I just stole your line.
Oh, in that case, no, I'm kidding.
All right, so first step is push me away?
Push the threat away.
Okay.
And then palm strike. And then the pushing the threat away is just to...
This? Karate chop?
You can either use the ulna bone to strike here.
So like opposite?
Yep, you can...
No.
Yeah, and I talk about this in the course, positioning yourself in a position of advantage.
Okay.
My energy and power goes this way, and so does his. I don't want to be in front of his, but I want to put him in front of mine. So I come in here and I strike him right there.
Oh, like that.
There you go.
Okay.
Yep, just like that.
So and you want a 1-2. You're like push away and then...
So push here.
Push and then strike.
Oh, no, that was opposite.
So it would be push here or push here and strike there.
Okay.
Okay,
so push here. No, push here and strike.
There you go. Yep.
Yep. When do you get to hit people in the groin?
That comes into play with the knees, but I don't have any gear.
I think we're out of time. I love it. Okay, so this is really the very basics, right?
This is the fundamentals, but it is the most important part, because you're not going to be able to do that complex stuff.
No.
And this course isn't designed to make you a black belt or a professional fighter.
Just feel comfortable.
Yeah, to feel comfortable.
Dwayne, thank you so
you.
much. We appreciate it. Right. Dwayne, back to you. With Vanguard Personal Defense and teaching that class down at Lakeland, here's the information on your screen, which we'll put online at CILiving.tv.